Hey guys, welcome to another episode of AFL What If. In this episode, we're taking a look at the final two teams of the 16 teams that will make up our very first AFL What If League. Now, if you don't know what that is, make sure you go check out the recent video here on the channel where I break down what the AFL What If League is and what it will be once AFL Evolution 2 finally releases. So the two what if scenarios we're taking a look at today are what if the GWS Giants went with one of their other proposed nicknames and became the West Sydney Stallions, and what if South Melbourne never relocated to Sydney and stayed in Victoria. Prior to their debut in the AFL in 2012, the GWS Giants shopped around a number of potential nicknames, one of which was the Stallions. So when making this team's identity, I decided to change their name from the GWS Stallions to the West Sydney Stallions. For some reason, I just think that flows a little nicer together. For their colour scheme, I decided to stick with the blue and white that was GWS's original colours. Back in their very early years, before they had the Giants name and the orange and black colours, they wore a blue and white jumper. So I reckon for this team, we're going to stick with those colours. For their home jumper, I've gone with a navy blue Guernsey with navy blue shorts. Hang on, I've got an itch. For their home jumper, I've gone with a navy blue Guernsey with navy blue shorts, a royal blue sash with a white outline around it. Personally, I really like this Guernsey. I think it just looks really cool, you know, the two tones of blue and then the white outline to make the sash really stand out. I think it's a nice strong look and pretty unique as well. For their away or clash jumper, I've gone with a white Guernsey with white shorts, navy blue collars and cuffs, a royal blue sash with a navy blue outline around it. Again, I think this looks good. I think out of the two, the home jumper is definitely the better of the two. But this white one works really well also. It does kind of look like Freo from the back, you know, with the white jumper and probably due to the red sponsor as well on the back of the jumper. But overall, I think these two Guernseys look really nice together. And so there we have the identity for the West Sydney Stallions. Honestly, probably one of my favourite, you know, identities for a team in this What If League. Especially that home jumper. I really do like that two-tone of blue. It really looks good, I think. Not to kind of, you know, toot my own horn or anything. I'm sounding a bit arrogant, but I like that one, so yep. So next up, we're looking at what if South Melbourne never relocated to Sydney to become the Sydney Swans and stayed in Victoria. Now, as far as an identity goes, they wouldn't really change much. The colours would be the same as they are with the Sydney Swans. The name would still be Swans, it's just South Melbourne Swans. But I think the key difference here, obviously, is that they would have kept their traditional jumper design. So for the home jumper for this team, I've gone with a white Guernsey with red collars and cuffs, red shorts, and that red V in the top half of the Guernsey. Obviously, this is a jumper design that South Melbourne originally had and had for a little while after they relocated to Sydney, but eventually they would adapt that Sydney Swans kind of iconic jumper with the Opera House logo and all that kind of stuff. So obviously if they don't relocate to Sydney, they don't have that Opera House Guernsey, and they probably would have stuck with this more traditional, you know, South Melbourne jumper. For their clash Guernsey, I've gone with a simple inverse, red jumper with white shorts, white collars and cuffs, and a white V in the top part of the Guernsey. This team I see very much being like Sydney is today, where they pretty much wear the same jumper for every game. They do have that white clash jumper, but they only really wear it against Gold Coast and maybe Brisbane, I think. And I think this team would be a similar sort of thing. That red jumper would only really get worn in clashes against teams like a Gold Coast or any team with a predominantly red jumper. No, wait, predominantly white jumper, right? Yeah, because, okay, I'm very confused. This team confuses me because their home jumper is white, and like no one does that, right? It's the complete opposite of everything else. So I'm very confused. But anyway, the red clash jumper would only really be worn against teams who have a white or kind of light home Guernsey, which wouldn't be too many. So there we have the identity of the South Melbourne Swans if they had stayed in Victoria rather than relocating to Sydney. Again, two jumpers that I like. I mean, the design is just, you know, the same as the classic South Melbourne Guernsey, but I do think that white home jumper is definitely one of the more iconic in the AFL that we don't see around anymore, you know, unless Sydney wear it kind of on a one-off. So it's a shame that it's not around anymore. Okay, so that's about it for this episode of AFL What If, guys. What is that? As always, guys, let me know your thoughts on these two teams in the comments down below. But in addition to that, I'd also love to know your thoughts and your ideas on how we can handle the squads for each team in the What If League. I'm going to say that better. I'd love to know your thoughts on how we should handle building the squads for each team in the What If League. Obviously, I don't really want to be building 42 individual players for all 16 teams when Evo 2 eventually releases. So what's the best way you think we could handle building those squads? Once again, we're going to have a poll in the top corner of the screen, that side. In that corner of the screen, we're going to have a poll where you can say which of these two teams you like better, the West Sydney Stallions or the South Melbourne Swans. If I can, I'll also have a second poll up there where you can let me know which of the 16 teams you're going to get behind and you're going to support in the AFL What If League. But yeah, until next time, we will see you guys later.